That's our old friend Dave Reichert, everybody. You're running for this governor's office, and it's really hard to come up with a Republican with more name recognition than Dave Reichert. So we're going to talk about all of that here: fundraising, social media, the whole thing. With all the money going towards renewable energy and that whole balloon juice, oddly enough, some of the most renewable, brilliantly clean energy of all time is the hydroelectric dam, and they're talking about taking them down. So my question is, what do you bench? I was put up to. I'm sorry. I apologize. It's childish, but I was dared to do that. Sorry, you don't have to answer that.
Okay. So I didn't know I was going to be on a comedy show.
No, it's not. It's a serious question.
No, I in Congress voted to save the dams. We need our dams for the power they generate, and thank you. Yeah, simple answer.
So it's really hard to come up with a more indelible image from the WTO in 1999 than when you chase those hippies down Pike Street as sheriff of King County. But that's in King County. Did you catch the hippie, by the way?
Well, they were actually 3 gangbangers.
Yeah.
And but they could be hippies too, I guess.
They were dressed as hippies.
No, SPD eventually caught those 3 guys. They had broken into Radio Shack, and I just happened to be, I just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Well, so I don't know how it works in Eastern Washington, but I mean, by name and face, you were the most recognizable sheriff at that time in the U.S. When you go to Eastern Washington, is that going to be where the money is? Do they know you there?
Yes,
do Republicans know you there?
Yes. My name ID in Seattle, King County, is in somewhere in the mid-60s, 64, 65%. Statewide, it's, I think, in the low 50, 51, 52%. And I haven't really been on TV for the last 4.5 years, so I think we start out in a really good spot with name recognition. That's worth a lot of money in the political world.
Do you think there's an opportunity with some Democrats who've had it up to here with themselves to possibly say, I remember that guy, he didn't offend me, he wasn't a wacky, crazy, right-wing, Bible-thumping guy, he's just a guy who seems like he can really get stuff done. Are they there?
Yes. So I was at a county fair in Chelan about a month ago, and a young couple walks by, and it's the I'm standing by the Republican booth, and they're sort of standing back, and they see me, and they kind of do one of these things. So I walked over, and they said, hey, we don't really want to be around the Republican booth, but we saw you standing there, and we just want to let you know we're going to vote for you. So we've been getting that a lot. Independents, moderate Democrats are fed up. Even some of the inner city millennials, young people, they can't go to their local pub, they can't go to their local coffee shop without stepping on a needle, without walking over a body or being attacked. So they don't feel safe, and they want to change. And what I ask them, do you like the way things are? And they go, no. And I said, well, then you should be voting for some change here, because we've had the same government for 40 plus years with the same people in power. It's time to change things up here a little bit.
When you initially ran for Congress, I cried and I said, he hates us, but at least we'll be rid of Dave Ross. You win, and you disappear. And we were talking backstage about the Dave Reichert effect of going to D.C. and rubbing elbows with people that are going to be in Congress next year and things like that. So describe that, because it's your reputation in D.C. was not a jerk. Yeah, that guy looks good in pictures, not a jerk, not a jackass. You can deal with this guy. So, I mean, describe what you bring to the table there, that gap between Washington real and Washington, D.C.
Yeah, well, first I didn't want to run for Congress. Jennifer Dunn was very persistent. I finally said yes, I think after the 5th or 6th time, and the first race we won was against Dave Ross, 51.5%, something like that. So I didn't realize what a great opportunity that was until I got back there and started working with both sides of the aisle. You have to when you're back there. Find it interesting that a lot of people will vote for you to get into a political office, but then they don't expect you to be political, right? But that's the job. And so the opportunity I had was to work with people like Kevin McCarthy and Steve Scalise, who I just texted last week when he dropped out of the speaker's race, and told him that he did a good job on Fox News and got a response back from him. Those relationships on both sides of the aisle, I burnt no bridges. And I still know, I would say 80% of the people who are back there, which when you become governor, you've got those relationships already built. And you can communicate with them immediately what we need here in the state of Washington. I also know most of the presidential candidates who are running right now and have worked with some of those in Congress. So whomever is elected as president, I think I would have, because it is going to be a Republican, right?
Would you say there is a Washington Republican and that you'd be it? I mean, in other words, someone that a Democrat could vote for without vomiting or whatever they do now.
Well, so I'd like to think of it this way. Look, I was a cop for 33 years, and I was a detective for a number of those years, 10, 12 years. And by the way, that Green River, I didn't know they were playing that clip, but I just want to make it clear, I really had a great team of people all those years working on this case. But what I try to do is to look at everything as an investigation. When I looked at legislation that I had to vote on back in Washington, D.C., I looked for the good and the bad. If it had more good, I voted yes, and then I tried to work to get the bad out. If it had more bad, I'd vote no, and I'd work to get the good in. And so people like to say that's, you're an independent, you're a moderate. I like to think I'm a little bit of a unknown. I like to keep people guessing a little bit and do something a little bit different. But I like to collect facts and make decisions based upon fact. And that's what we're going to do in the governor's office. We're going to hire some people in our state government that know what the hell they're doing in their job. And they're not going to be appointed because they wrote a check to the governor for his campaign.
And I don't know if you heard the panel that I did with the county councilman, the UW prof, and Kathy from 25th District, but I've never seen an issue anger parents more than this gender dysphoria state law without the parents' consent thing. And I mean, it was bad in California. I really hadn't thought, the mutilate your kids law would be up here. But it's here, and I got to say, it's actually exceeds California.
Yeah.
I mean, as governor, you hear that, right? You hear it at campaign stops?
Right. Absolutely disgusting. 5599, I think, was the piece of legislation, right? Yeah. There are petitions out there. Brian Haywood, many of you know Brian, the petitions are out there. Got to sign that, get it on the ballot. The voter's voice needs to be heard on this, and that's how we're going to change things.
Yeah, I got to say, I mean, I don't like writing checks, but if a candidate is talking specifically in this state about that, they're going to get my check and my bumper sticker inches and the whole thing. And I mean, looking objectively in this state, if there is a Republican issue, that's it. From Ritzville to Spanaway or whatever.
Well, it's time for our schools to focus on educating our children on science and math and the things that they need to be successful in life, not the rest of this crap, to be blunt.
So what does Reichert 2024 look like? What's your social media and all that? Do you care about anyone below 28? I mean, they don't really vote anyway. I mean,
Yes, we do care about every voter. We love every voter who votes for us. Uh, but no, my effort's going to be try to reach everybody that we can. And we as conservatives have a great message this time, and it covers not only the issue of our children and their protection and the parents' rights in schools and their education, but it has to do with their protection, their safety and security, and just walking from home to school, walking from school back home. So it's the criminal justice system, it's drug addiction, it's alcoholism, it's the taxes that are piled on us day after day after day. You turn around, you've got a gas tax, cap and trade gas tax put on you, and how many pennies? Pennies, right? Just a few pennies. It's 50 cents a gallon now. That has caused an increase in everything that you buy. Truck drivers and farmers were supposed to be exempt from that. They have not been, and that was a ploy by the current government. So they've not been honest with us. They've been dishonest. I feel like, and I know I'm going on a little bit of a rant right now, but I don't know about you, but I feel sort of like a serf on government property here in Washington State, and that's got to end. The government, need to serve us.
So your likely opponent is a dark blue, dyed-in-the-wool King County product of a machine that is so overwhelming it doesn't even have to be evil. They can just spend money. What's the dirt that they're going to come at us on the Dave Reichert? Are they going to? Because I got to say, your record in law enforcement in King County, I think, is unimpeachable. But I don't know about the rest of the state. But what are they going to tell us about you?
Well, I don't know. It's all good.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen a campaign in this state that gets that dirty. So I guess that's good. But yeah,
they do make up lies. Thank you for that, ma'am.
But I mean,
no,
and
I can't see you, by the way.
But I mean, yeah, there's no dark Dave Reichert secret. You really were the sheriff of King County.
Yes.
Everyone saw you. For how long were you the sheriff of King County?
8 years as the sheriff, 33 years with the sheriff.
You signed my first CCP, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
A great, whatchamacallit, autograph. So I guess what I'm talking about then is your campaign's going to be on the socials, the billboards. Where are you going to put your money?
Well,
This is not a sales pitch, by the way. I'm just saying. I can't believe there's people that don't know you.
There's some new people that have moved in, but there's a lot more people that moved out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I would say for those of us that tunneled out of California, your story is what they came here for. How about that guy as governor? Because I don't know if the snowplow vaccine thing, we're about to feel the effects of that Saturday, when there's no one to drive the snowplow, because if you're sitting alone in a truck for 12 hours, you should be vaccinated.
Yeah.
And and I don't want to go over the past, but I mean, given the facts at hand at the time, what would Governor Reichert have done?
No, we're not going to do that. I'll tell you, one of the things that I've been doing before I jumped into this race is I got a call from several union members from the firefighters union. A lot of them, there must be a firefighter out there somewhere. A lot of them lost their jobs, as we all know. I think almost 200 firefighters left. I just texted with one of the firefighters that I was working with, 20 years with Eastside Fire. He left the state because he got fired because he for religious reasons didn't want to take the COVID shots. He's now working in Montana as a firefighter. Another one of these gentlemen working in Texas as a firefighter. one of the things as governors that we could, I will hire those people back.
And then I forgot. Do we debate in this state anymore? You know, are the likely opponent is a lawyer, I hear, and so I don't know. Is there going to be a debate?
Yeah, I hope so. I'm looking forward to comparing his record with mine, and not, I don't know how many millions of dollars he's cost us in the lawsuits that he's lost, right? Several $1 million. Yeah, I hope that we have that opportunity. He's a lawyer, but I'm a nice guy, so I think.
Yeah, I have a man on the inside that says he's a gigantic jackass. Yeah. So, not to put you on the spot, but real quickly, is there a prominent national Democrat that would go on tape and say, "Not a jackass. He should be your governor"?
Jay Inslee.
Really? That'd be great.
I think, in fact, when Jay Inslee announced his retirement, he said, "I look forward to handing the keys to the governor's office over to the next Democrat."
Yeah.
And I think Ferguson was standing there at the time. So, yeah, that's the other thing that's just so irritating about this, is that there's an entitlement that people feel here. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, and I heard Carmen Best say it, you can't give up. We didn't give up in Green River. The whole team worked 19 years. We solved that case. Don't give up. We can win this state back. We've got to do it together. You've got to tell your friends. You've got to get them out to vote. You've got to write checks.
Yep. And speaking of that, okay, so everyone's going to run home. They're going to give you money, and they're going to go where?
They're going to go to ReichertForGovernor.com.
Okay. Yeah, that's really what it boils down to. And I left a state that was like, the Democrats were like the Globetrotters and the Republicans played like the Washington Generals, and I'm sick of that. And there's still time to save it. No matter what people say, it's almost as bad here. No, it's not. And if we can hit the bottom and bounce back, that'd be great.
Time is now.
Hope to see you raise your hand there. All right, well, everyone, give it up for the sheriff, Dave Reichert.